my friends, and welcome to Happy Brain, Happy Life. My name is Dr. Mireli Zaponte, Dr. Mimi, for many of you that follow me already. And my goal here in Happy Brain, Happy Life is to guide you to improving the quality of the way you think, feel, and act by understanding your brain and using simple, practical strategies to do so. And so I try to explain as easy as possible it is so that you can understand how to apply all of this in daily life. Now, today I have a special show for you because I want to be able to talk to you about how to embrace transition and change, right? From a brain health perspective. And the reason for this is because when we start a new year, when we start a new job, when we start a new season in our life, there's always going to be change. However, if we think about how the brain acts naturally, we can understand that the brain is wired to be predictably safe. That means it's going to try to protect us the most. But life is full of stressors, situations that can be unsettling. And so, if we understand how the brain works, we're able to confront all of these experiences in a much better way, developing better emotional intelligence, being more resilient, but at the end of the day, being happier even though stressful situations can show up in life. I just had a conversation with a colleague and friend, and she's telling me how the first day of the year she got a call. The kids were with the grandparents, and the cold weather had completely gone to one of his kids to the point where they were in the hospital because the asthma had, completely blown up. And so, yes, things happen even in the first day of the year. And that does not make the good thing is that she's got such great resilience that she immediately went to work and dedicated, the time to her kids and to their health. And so it is all good when you're able to understand how the brain works and how you need to be able to overcome all the stressors that might show up in life and how to move forward and move along. Okay, so this lesson is going to explore pretty much how neuroscience based strategies can actually help you embrace those changes and transitions throughout life. And I'll give you some practical tips on the way so that you can apply today. Maybe you're going through something today, and some of what you're learning in this lesson might be able to be applied immediately. This is why I always teach we can change this fast how we think, feel, and act about something. Now, let's start by understanding how the brain responds, right? The brain is in a default mode to prioritize survival, okay? Which is why we often perceive change as a threat. Does that make sense? Like we're always thinking, oh, change. No, oh, now I got to do this. It's completely different. And the amygdala is one of those spaces where, one of those structures in our brain that is responsible for this, right? The amygdala is responsible for detecting threats and can sometimes, unfortunately, overreact to what is a perceived risk during times of change. And so, because it's in that protective mode, it's one of those structures that will respond as a fight or flight opportunity, right? And so, the good thing, right, is that we can apply neuroplasticity to train the brain to say, hey, stop for a minute. I always say the lion's not going to eat me up, right? So we have an ability through neuroplasticity to reorganize the brain. And it can do it by itself by forming new neural connections, right? New neural connections that are going to allow us to adapt to change. Now, actually, in natural neuroscience in 2022, there was a research that highlighted how exposure to kind of novel situations and novel connections allows us to adapt and strengthen our neuroplasticity and improve our adaptability. So there is research showing that the more that we kind of expose ourselves to an experience or actually embrace what's going on, we are able to strengthen our neural connections and feel better. So how do we do that, right? How do we hack our amygdala a little bit and let it know that we can, respond differently to the different threats or different stressful situations around us is going to be one of them. It's about practicing mindfulness, and many people, I am a Christian, so I practice prayer, and so prayer is one of those hacks that helps the amygdala kind of quiet down. Now, it always involves kind of being quiet, right? And also breathing. So, deep breathing in the process oxygenates the brain, it reduces the emotional reactivity of that amygdala, and it helps you approach change in a calmer mindset. So when you're applying mindfulness, one of the things that you're able to do is kind of quiet yourself down. I always ask people, to practice mindfulness while actually standing up and walking. It's one of my favorite, and the reason for that is because we're activating the cortex to think and to be more conscious, and so we're making sure that those neurons are activated at the cortex level and quieting it down the amygdala, which is more subcortical and under that cortex, if that makes sense to you. But it all has a purpose, right? All these structures, like I always say, and I always express to you guys that unfortunately we think about the brain, or we think about thoughts and emotions as something that does not start in our body, that is abstract outside, that it's only things that we cannot control. But we actually are able to control our thoughts and emotions, our feelings, our behaviors, if we're able to be conscious about what is going on. So the second piece of today's 5 strategies is going to be reframing, change as a growth opportunity. Now, one of the pieces is that our brain's reward system really responds positively to a growth mindset, which is a good thing, right? Because even though the amygdala is really consistently trying to protect us, our brain is able to grasp that we are and kind of embracing a growth mindset, and that is positive thinking. So the more we add opportunity as a connection to growth and a connection to change, then we release more dopamine. And dopamine is one of those neurotransmitters, meaning neurochemicals, chemicals in our brain that make us feel positive, right? Make us feel and have positive feelings and good. It's a good feeling, and it reinforces why we should feel kind of satisfied and fulfilled. And so it is the opportunity for us to grasp into a growth mindset and a growth opportunity today. Now, cognitive reappraisal is the way that we can hack our brain to see this as a strategy, a shift in the perspective from seeing change as a threat to seeing it as a challenge, right? This is the opportunity that we can give it a new perspective, a new way of thinking. Now, there are plenty of studies, but there's one in Stanford University in 2021 that actually found that individuals who practiced cognitive reappraisal experience lower stress levels during any transitions because you are reframing that thought. So your tip for today is, what are you going to do is encourage yourself to write down 3 potential benefits of a change that you are going through. So think about that change, think about that transition that you're experiencing, and then help make a shift into what are the benefits of this opportunity that in your own narrative originally might have been a fear, and turn it into an opportunity. Our third strategy is building resilience through routine. Now, why is this important? Because the brain thrives on routine and predictability, which can actually provide some stability during times of change. Now, we have to make a balance in this, right? Because actually, the basal ganglia, which is also a subcortical structure in the brain, it's involved in habit formation, right? It helps preserve like mental energy, because what it does, it says, oh, you know this, you've already done this, it's easy to do. And so it automates behaviors. And it is a great thing. This is why we're able to kind of brush our teeth without even thinking, right? And we're able to drive to many places without even thinking, because there's so many behaviors that have been automated. Now, this helps in stress reduction because it's predictable. So, certain routines can actually reduce that brain cognitive kind of load and stress by making it a consequent, a repetitive routine. Now, what you want to be able to do is be able to understand that cognitive flexibility is able to be present, because the one thing about habit formation is that when something breaks the habit, or when something is changing that habit, it can be painful because it's also a change and a transition, right? So if we are able to focus on the benefits and focus on the opportunity, then that basal ganglia allows our brain structure to be involved in that mental energy producing, in that mental energy preservation of the effort. And it actually reduces the stress levels. So, for some people, for example, some of the routines in the morning are, wake up, make your bed. I love making the bed in the morning. Let me tell you, it's like I put my feet on the floor and I immediately think of making that bed. It kind of sets me up for the day, and immediately have my particular sessions, right? I brush my teeth. I kind of at least brush my hair. It kind of makes me feel like at least I've done something positive in the morning, and I can start my routine during the day. Some people will do exercise in the morning, some people will do a meditation or a prayer session in the morning. Certain routines help you set your day for success. And so this is a hack that actually will set you up to reducing the amount of stressors during the day. It might not necessarily solve your change, but it will be able to let you know, okay, all of these things are done for the day because I already have created a habit of doing them in a certain manner and in a certain order. And it just helps your brain kind of quiet down and calm down. And yet, there's a study in the Journal of Cognitive Neuroscience that actually found that maintaining routines, this was like actually the recent 2023 study, and it says that it really helps with maintaining routines during life transitions. It really significantly reduces anxiety levels. It just causes you to understand what's coming. And this is why this is so good for young people, for older people, just because it reduces anxiety on us. But what can you do, right? What daily routines could you identify that can help you maintain this sense of normalcy and control? Think about that today. That's my little tip for the day on that one. And make sure that you're kind of jotting them down and identifying what things are helping you. Now, number 4 on our 5 strategies today is going to be to leverage social connections. And why is this important? Because the human brain is actually social by nature. We need social support, and this can actually buffer negative effects of change. It Being around people, the right people, being around people that support you, that care for you, that love you, releases oxytocin. And oxytocin is one of those other favorite neurotransmitters that make you feel satisfied, loved, promotes really good trust feelings, and it also reduces stress. So, being around people will also help you, but having the correct support system is one of those key things that will help you in stressful change and transition moments. Now, there is something called mirror neurons, right? And the mirror neurons are those that help us empathize with others, but also learn are those that help us learn through social observation and behavior. And so we can, by being social and being with other people, this is why they tell you all these gurus, right? And leadership gurus and entrepreneurship gurus tell you you are the five people that you are surrounded with. And what that means is that the mirror neurons are taking in, observing how you manage stress, how you handle difficult situations, how you handle problems, right? And if you're able to be around people that do it effectively, one of the things that will most likely happen is that those mirror neurons are going to copy the behavior and learn, stress reducing behaviors as well as good, emotional intelligence and resilience skills. So be around people that have strong, social support, and plenty of opportunities to learn from research saying, how strong social support will always, help you. It will help you have effective confront and adapt during major life changes. So it is, and a big example for us women is, when we have babies, right? And how much of a big change that is. And when you do have a good significant support system around you, you're able to transition in this change in a much healthier manner than when you are maybe a single mom with no support system, and how this can really elevate your stress levels around you, right? So in big life transitions, make sure you look for and surround yourself, and this does not mean necessarily just family. Let me tell you something. You can find community in social groups, you can find community at church, you can find so much support system at, on a good and great mastermind like what I have been able to be participate from with Paul Martinelli. I mean, find a group that will be there to support you, okay? And so one of the things that you can do is find and identify, have a list of those trusted friends, or join a support group that can help you navigate any of the transitions that you might be able to confront during this year. And you will find, let me tell you something, you will find emotional relief, and you will find a new perspective. I always say when you are serving, it's one of the pieces that have helped me kind of heal myself, and heal any of the areas in my life that kind of because we all do have them, but by serving. And so we have chosen to serve the special needs community. We do it as a family, so it kind of creates a whole support system for ourselves, for all four of us, but also for the people around us. And that has helped us stay in community and stay, releasing that oxytocin constantly for us and for our brain to function more effectively. And last but not least, today, I want you to embrace self compassion. And what does that mean, right? It means to activate your self soothing system by reducing, the impact of stress on you. And how we do this is because we have, again, another subcortical structure called the insula. If you see, all of these emotional pieces tend to be subcortical. So if we are able to learn how to activate our cortex, how to activate our thinking areas, we're able to move away from the subcortical areas that tend to be way more emotional. And so let's train our insula, which is the brain of the region that's involved in emotional awareness, right? And it's actually activating self compassion, or self, self laceration, if we could call it that. And so it can help you lower or increase cortisol levels. And if you've heard about cortisol before, one of those chemicals in our body that will respond to stress as a, again, protection mechanism. And the higher the cortisol, the less we can lose weight, the higher probabilities of developing, bad cells, which means eventually cancer and other diseases. And so we want to reduce cortisol. We can let our insula know that we can reduce that stress. And so we can teach it how self-compassion, self-love. It is okay to make mistakes. It is okay for things not to be perfect. It is okay for things for to struggle through certain things in life and then move forward and become stronger. And the ability that we have to be self-compassionate will result in the opportunity for you to be more emotional resilient. And there's studies for this as well, but I want to let you know that just today, start practicing a self-compassion exercise. Go ahead and recognize and name some emotions that you might be having today. Recognize that feeling, name it. Remind yourself that it is normal to feel that way. Sometimes we think we cannot feel pain, we cannot feel sad, we cannot feel tired. We are so used to the I can't do that this is the moment that today I want you to be self-compassionate and say it's okay that I don't feel completely focused today. And what kind of words can you offer to yourself and to encourage yourself to move forward today? As you would a friend, think that you're talking to a friend and be self-compassionate to you. Okay, guys, so we've gone through 5 amazing strategies to improve your way through transitions and changes. And I hope that some of these, if not all of them, are going to be incorporated into your life as you move forward this year. And so understand your brain response to change, reframe it and change, that mindset towards a growth mindset. Build the resilience, through routines. Create routines that work for you, not for somebody else. Don't copy somebody else's. Find the one that really makes you be successful and effective. Leverage on your social connections, the good, positive, encouraging, supportive social connection, and embrace self compassion to yourself. I hope that some of these will going to make a difference in your life. And you know what? Embrace change. Change is challenging, but it can also be an opportunity for growth and transformation with the right tools. I hope you follow me. I hope you have in your hands Happy Brain, Happy Life book. You can find it on Amazon and then the link right below here. But I would love to be able to support you and help you throughout this year in transition. So connect with me, DM, comment. I would love to get back to you and be able to see if you can be part of our growth community as the Brain Smart program is going through and open for only 5 more spots this year, 2025. But I will love to see you and see how we can help you grow and change your brain health for the good this year. Have a great, happy brain, happy life.